Hi guys, Rachael Cook, Doctor of Audiology at Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And in today's video, we're doing a detailed review of the brand new Phonak Audeo Infinio hearing aids. Coming up. After nearly 2 years, Phonak has finally announced the launch of a brand new product lineup. This new product lineup includes the Phonak Audeo Infinio rechargeable receiver and canal hearing aids, as well as the CROS Infinio, the Audeo Sphere Infinio, and a whole new custom lineup, the custom Virto Infinio rechargeable, as well as the Virto Infinio 10 non-wireless, and the Virto Infinio titanium. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about the Phonak Audeo Infinio receiver and canal rechargeable hearing aid. But this can get a little bit confusing because Phonak actually launched 2 new products at the same time, the Audeo Infinio receiver and canal and the Audeo Sphere Infinio receiver and canal. So if you are looking for a detailed review on the Audeo Sphere product, make sure that you check out Dr. Cliff's video that I will be sure to have linked down in the description below. The 2 biggest differences between these products are going to be, number 1, the size, but number 2, they both got the addition of the brand new Era chip, but only the Audeo Sphere Infinio got the addition of the Deep Sonic chip that is specifically designated to handle speech in challenging or noisy background environments. Now, before we start off on this video, I want to let you know that our review videos are never sponsored. So in no way, shape, or form am I being paid to tell you anything about this product. We just like to bring you a lot of knowledge about new releases on the market because they can be pretty exciting. I'll also tell you that with these exciting updates, it can be really easy to be focused on the technology side of things, forgetting about the fact that this really boils down to who is actually fitting and programming these hearing aids for you. None of these new advancements are going to matter if you are not getting these incredible new hearing aids fit and programmed by an audiologist or a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive best practices. Best practices are a long series of considerations and measurements, including speech and noise testing, test box measures, real ear measurement, and even validated outcome measures to ensure that you are getting the highest level of benefit out of your hearing treatment possible. Unfortunately, estimates show that fewer than 30% of hearing care professionals actually follow these comprehensive best practices. So if you're looking for a provider who does follow these comprehensive best practices, make sure you head on over to hearingup.com. There you'll find a directory and a map where you can find a provider near you that's been vetted to follow these comprehensive best practices and get you hearing as best as you possibly can. Now, the new Audeo Infinio receiver and canal rechargeable hearing aids come in 4 different technology levels: 90, 70, 50, and 30, with level 90 being their premium offering. Now, you're probably wondering, how much do these hearing aids cost? And the thing is, I can't really give you an accurate quote in this video because it's all going to depend on where you live, what services are included with that purchase, and what the quality of those services are. Of course, it's also going to matter which technology level that you select and go with. And for that reason, we always make the same exact recommendation. You should go with the highest level of technology that you can reasonably afford. If you can't afford it, you should drop down in technology level, and then it becomes the job of your hearing care professional to optimize the settings of those devices as best as they can for you. That being said, let's dive into who can actually use these devices. Now, what's incredible about receiver and canal hearing aids is they can practically be configured to fit nearly any level of hearing loss. And we see the same fitting range with this product that we saw from the previous product, spanning from a mild level of hearing loss up to a profound level of hearing loss, using either a standard, moderate, power, or ultra power receiver. The amount of power that you need from your hearing aid will also determine what type of acoustic coupling is used on the end of that hearing aid, whether it be a non-custom dome or the use of a custom ear mold. We see the same lineup of dome options that we saw with the previous generation of products, including open domes, vented domes, and power domes, but you can also use a custom ear mold for a fantastic fit and even further improved sound quality. And I happen to think that Phonak makes some of the best custom ear molds on the market. Now, the receivers are new. They are the new SDS 6.0 8-pin snap fit receivers, which are really easy to pop in and pop out without even having to use a tool. That can be really convenient for your provider when it comes to changing receivers in office, but also if you have any backup sets of receivers at home, it makes it really simple for you to change them. What's even cooler is that these new receivers actually have some information transfer that occurs between the receiver and the hearing aid itself, meaning that it's really difficult to place the incorrect or wrong receiver onto the hearing aid because the hearing aid itself will flag it and say, that's not the right one. I'm very happy to report that Phonak decided to remain with the standard CROS wax guards that I feel are much easier to use than the previous CROS disc. And the receivers themselves are now available in 5 lengths, including the previous 0, 1, 2, and 3, but with the new addition of a 00 for those with, tinier ears. These new models of hearing aids are also compatible with the ActiVent receivers. ActiVent receivers can open and close the vent on your custom ear mold depending on the background noise of the surrounding environment or whether or not you're actively streaming. But enough about the coupling, let's talk about the processing. With the new Phonak Audeo Infinio hearing aids, we see an update from the previous generation Prism chip to the brand new Era chip. And with this change in chip comes a change in their autosense from 5.0 to 6.0. Now you might be wondering what autosense even is. Autosense 6.0 uses the microphones on your hearing aids to scan your environment nearly 700 times per second. Then, using machine learning, this will match your hearing aid program with the acoustics that you are experiencing with the goal of providing the best listening experience possible. And the best part is that this is all done automatically without you even having to do a thing. Now, AutoSense 6.0 consists of 6 separate programs within this lineup compared to the previous 7. These include Calm Situation, Speech and Noise, Speech and Loud Noise, Speech and Car, Comfort and Noise, and Music. However, not all 6 of these programs are available in every technology level, and as you go down in technology level, you start seeing some of these programs drop off. Interestingly enough, we saw a drop of the Comfort and Echo program between AutoSense 5.0 and AutoSense 6.0. Personally, I thought that was kind of a little bit strange because I find that my patients seem to spend a fair amount of time in the Comfort and Echo program, especially if they live in areas or homes that have high ceilings, hardwood floors, reflective surfaces, things like that. At some point, I'll have to report back on just how the new AutoSense 6.0 classifies these types of environments, whether it puts them into the comfort and noise category or whether it switches them over to the speech and noise category. We also retain the highly coveted media streaming programs, including the Media Speech plus Mic and the Media Music plus Mic programs, which allow your streaming settings to be different depending on what it is that you're listening to. And you can even go in and change these program options and for how things sound on a phone call, which is just so nice. We'll talk a little bit more about how the Era chip comes into play with the Bluetooth here in just a second. But now let's talk about the style. In this video in particular, we're talking about the Audeo Infinio receiver in canal rechargeable hearing aid, as well as the compatible Audeo Infinio CROS rechargeable hearing aid. I was so excited to see a CROS being a part of this initial product launch because typically speaking, we have to wait a while until a CROS transmitter that's compatible with a new product launch is actually available to the public. CROS transmitters are used for individuals with single-sided deafness, and it takes the sound that comes in from one side of your head and routes it over to the ear that has much better hearing. I'm just excited because this allows individuals with single-sided deafness to get really excited about this new product launch at the same time that everybody else does. However, I will make a brief mention that the new CROS product is not compatible with the Sphere Infinio receiver and canal hearing aid, just the Audeo Infinio receiver and canal hearing aid. In a change-up of tradition, we actually didn't see a style of receiver and canal hearing aid available with a telecoil option. Somehow, it's only available in their in-the-ear battery-operated styles this time. This could be because LE Audio, which we'll talk about in a second, is expected to somewhat replace telecoil technology here in the future, so they may have only had space for one or the other. We still have the same standard rocker push button that we saw previously with the ability to change volume, programs, and to answer and end phone calls. Tap control is still available to answer and end phone calls, start and stop streaming, and to access a voice assistant like Siri. However, this only comes available in the 90 and 70 technology levels. These hearing aids still boast an impressive IP68 rating when it comes to moisture and debris resistance, but they even stepped it up a notch further than that. The new hydrophobic coating that they're using, as well as a slight change to the case design of the hearing aid, means that this waterproofing of this hearing aid is on par with what we saw with the Lumity Life line of devices. In fact, they put in an additional 10,000 hours and 135 reliability tests to make sure that these hearing aids can handle anything. Now, when it comes to the color options for these hearing aids, you're going to see their standard lineup of colors that includes skin tones and hair tones, but they also added a couple of newbies. We see the addition of copper, sienna red, and Atlantic green. Depending on when you're watching this, you may or may not have access to the entire lineup of colors because there was such initial demand that Phonak had to say, whoa, pump the brakes, only a couple of color options for now. But these new additions to the color lineup should be available shortly. As far as the battery goes, the Audeo Infinio receiver and canal hearing aids only come in a rechargeable lithium-ion battery format at this time, and there's actually no disposable battery options yet, which was kind of interesting. There's no telling if they'll actually add a disposable battery option to this lineup or if they will keep it strictly rechargeable. The battery life on these hearing aids is looking to be around 16 hours on a full charge, and that's even including 3 hours of active streaming. I will say that I was somewhat looking forward to perhaps an improvement or an increase in the battery life on these Phonak devices, but it doesn't look like they made much of a change there. However, a large majority of my patients have no trouble getting through an entire day of wear time without their devices ever prompting that they need to put them back on the charger. You've got two charger options here, the Charger RIC and the Charger Go RIC. The only difference between them is that the Charger RIC will not have an internal lithium-ion battery inside of it, which means it's going to need to be plugged into the wall whenever you want to use it, whereas the Charger Go RIC will have an internal lithium-ion battery in it, which means that, as you can tell in the name, you can take it on the go with you and charge your devices out and about. And to me, this was a pretty nice addition because with the previous lineup of products, they never actually offered a rechargeable, like smart charger option that you could take on the go with you. There was a workaround where you could use a previous generation charger and purchase an extra power pack and pop it on there, but the whole thing was pretty clunky, and I just found that at the end of the day, it really wasn't working that well. So this was an exciting ad. However, if you've ever watched any of our videos about Phonak products over the last couple of years at least, you'll know that we absolutely despise their charger design. If you use non-custom domes on the end of your hearing aids, then you're going to be just fine. But the problem that we run into is that the well inside of the charger is so small. Many of my patients that utilize custom ear molds have a hard time fitting those custom ear molds inside the middle of that charging well, and that can cause some issues with intermittent charging. However, we have screamed this from the rooftops over the last few years, begging and pleading to see a change in the new charger design when it came out, and we found that our prayers went unanswered. But enough complaining, let's go ahead and jump into something that I know that everyone is really interested in, which is Bluetooth connectivity. Phonak hearing aids are one of the only hearing aids that can offer nearly universal Bluetooth capabilities, and we saw an update from the original Bluetooth 4.2 that was being used previously to the new Bluetooth Classic 5.3. This is supposed to nearly double the current transmission range. This is thanks to their new patented antenna design that promises fewer interruptions and a more consistent and stable experience. But just how much more consistent? Well, they say that there is a 6 times improvement over the previous Lumity lineup of devices when it comes to their Bluetooth connection and stability. In fact, they even tested this outdoors and found that the transmission range with a stable connection was much larger than I was expecting it to be, at 108 meters for an iPhone and 206 meters for an Android. They also reported that the improved efficiency of the ERA chip should also help to reduce the battery drain that we typically see with streaming. However, they didn't actually report any numbers, percentages of what degree of improvement we can expect on that front. These hearing aids also boast 552 million operations per second and 74% more RAM when compared to the previous generation of Lumity devices. This is exceptionally fast processing speed. This means, number one, that your Bluetooth connection should be established almost instantly. And number two, this also means that your hearing aid should be able to switch back and forth from a streaming program to your normal program that you were on before whenever you start and stop media. Something that we saw in the past caused for a little bit of a delay, and that was kind of annoying from a listening perspective. Now, they also added future compatibility for LE audio. LE audio, also known as Auracast broadcast technology, will be unlocked with a firmware update at some point in the future once the technology becomes a little bit more widespread. And if you want to learn more about Auracast or LE audio, we've got plenty of videos on it, so go ahead and check those out. And as always, we will have the links posted down in the description below. Now, we will still see compatibility with the previous lineup of accessories, such as the ever-loved TV connector, partner mic, and remote control. We will also have access to the same great My Phonak app for changes to volume, programs, many of their different feature options, including creating custom programs and conducting virtual sessions remotely with your hearing care provider. I also hear that in the coming months, there may be the addition of a Find My Hearing Aids feature on the My Phonak app, and that would be pretty sweet. This new lineup of hearing aids also comes with Roger Direct installed. Roger devices are assistive listening devices that can give you major hearing improvements in those really tricky, really challenging listening situations like restaurants, churches, auditoriums, theaters, things like that. But in the past, there was this really complicated process where you had to install essentially these virtual receivers from the Roger device into the hearing aids, and it was really easy for these receivers to jump to other hearing aids, get lost, or if your hearing aids went in for servicing or repair, they often came back without those integrated receivers in them. However, pretty soon they're coming out with their Roger 3.0 that will have unlimited Roger receivers inside of it, and this will mean no more jumping, lost, or stolen receivers just hanging out in the universe. As an aside, this is something that most patients didn't really have to deal with, but as a provider, I'm taking a major sigh of relief here. All right, that was a pretty long-winded review of these devices, so let's do a quick summary. We've added the new color options of copper, sienna red, and Atlantic green. The new ERA chip improves Bluetooth version, stability, transmission distance, and reduces battery drain. It also offers future LE audio compatibility that will allow users to benefit from Auracast technology once it becomes a bit more widespread. Improvements to case design and the use of new hydrophobic waterproofing and integrity tests makes this hearing aid essentially waterproof and sweatproof, going well above and beyond the requirements of the IP68 rating. We see the introduction of the new SDS 6.0 SnapFit receiver with extended sizing range and ability to transfer information to the hearing aid for supreme quality control. AutoSense 6.0 did drop the Comfort and Echo program, but we also saw an expansion of features like Sound Relax, Real Ear Sound, and Speech and Car programs to more technology levels than previously. New charger options include a charger with an internal battery for charging on the go. And we also see the immediate launch of the Infinio CROS rechargeable for users with single-sided deafness. Now, if you are looking for major speech and background noise improvements, it doesn't really look like much was done on that front when it comes to the Audeo Infinio receiver in canal hearing aids alone. So if that's really what you're looking for and really what you're interested in, you may want to consider the Phonak Audeo Sphere Infinio receiver in canal hearing aids. That's it for this video. Did I miss anything? Go ahead and drop your comments in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to take a look through them and make sure that I do an update to this video if necessary.